I didn't know what happened, no one else knew what happened. We all just thought people were getting picked up early on a normal school day.
11 years ago, and the memories of September 11th are still fresh. We spoke with some students about what they remember from that tragic day.
The food labels on Elon's campus are leaving something out. Find out what on Elon Local News.
I'm Jamie Daffner, and later on in the show, I'll have the highlights from a big weekend in Phoenix sports.
Good evening, Elon. I'm Brian Mazursky.
And I'm Scarlett Fakar. Elon Local News starts right now.
Thanks for joining us, and we start with breaking news tonight.
14 Raleigh schools were on lockdown this afternoon after police responded to 2 fatal shootings near Cameron Village, one at 9:30 a.m. and another at 2 p.m. Nearby, NC State University remained open, but campus bus service to Cameron Village was temporarily canceled. Police have not yet said whether the 2 shootings are related.
We will monitor this story and bring you the latest on our website, elonlocalnews.com.
The anniversary of the September 11th attacks is tomorrow. Our Gary Grumbach is in the newsroom to tell us more about what students remember from 11 years ago.
Thanks, guys. It's a day Americans will never forget. And I spoke with several students who were directly affected by the attacks of 9/11.
I didn't know what happened, no one else knew what happened. We all just thought people were getting picked up early on a normal school day.
The terrorist attacks 11 years ago still leaves people in shock. Communications professor Colin Donahue has some powerful memories of September 11th, 2001.
And I remember my roommate coming into the room. I had been sleeping, and he said, "It's crazy outside," and I thought he just meant on campus. I had no idea what he was talking about.
Current freshmen were in 2nd grade at the time of the attacks. While some students viewed it as an emotional experience, others view it as an historical event.
And my mom came in, and she knocked on my door and told me about it. And I was young, and immature. I didn't have any idea of what the impact it had on everyone. So I was not greatly affected by 9/11.
But some Elon students remember the day vividly.
We were on the train, started freaking out. The police came, got us, and we had to go back home. He had no answer of what actually happened, and then we found out clearly that he died.
Stories like this are similar throughout the country. Elon, though 500 miles from the site of the tragedy, is still feeling the effects 11 years later. If you're interested in honoring the victims of September 11th, Alamance County and Elon will host events tomorrow. The Burlington City Council is calling on the city's first responders to join in a moment of remembrance on the morning of September 11th. The fire and police departments will ring their bells and sound their sirens all over the city for 1 minute. Squad cars around the city will also sound their sirens in honor of the tragic day. On Elon's campus, the Truett Center will host a discussion about religious respect on September 11th. The event will start at 6 p.m. in the Isabella Cannon Room at the Center for the Arts.
11 years later, that's the legacy of 9/11. The ability to say with confidence that no adversary and no act of terrorism can change who we are. We are Americans, and we will protect and preserve this country we love.
That was President Obama in his weekly address to the nation about September 11th. And USA Today says Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney plans to commemorate the victims as well. He will address 4,000 National Guard officers in Reno, Nevada. Both presidential candidates have agreed to pull all campaign ads on 9/11 to promote national unity and service. According to CNN, President Obama is in the lead for the presidential election. Obama is expected to have 237 electoral votes on Election Day, while Republican nominee Mitt Romney would have 191 votes. In order to win the presidential race, a nominee needs a total of 270 electoral votes, and right now 110 electoral votes are undecided. And as a result, campaigning is crucial, especially in swing states like North Carolina, Virginia, Iowa, and Florida. This past Friday, both nominees attended campaign rallies in swing states. Obama was in Iowa, and Romney went to New Hampshire.
The Democratic National Convention may be over, but now the candidates will spend the next 2 months in a race to the White House.
Our Jason Puckett and Nicole Chadwick attended the DNC all week. What kind of coverage did you see down there, guys, and what most intrigued you while in Charlotte?
Well, that's a big question, Brian. There was so much going on in Charlotte, from, basically a big party the first day to all these different political policies being discussed throughout the week. I think, honestly, one of the most intriguing things about the entire experience was just the people. I mean, you had some people, you had people running for president on a zombie platform, people like that, to, your delegates from states who've been there, they're 74 years old and they've been to 20 conventions in their lifetime. I mean, it was just such a variety of different people and different, groups altogether. It was amazing.
Another important thing that I saw was not only inside the convention, but outside the convention, a lot of protesting went on. You had protesting of abortion, a lot of pro-life people. That was probably the most prominent one that we saw, with all sorts of pictures and loud music, etc., just really against a lot of the things that the Democrats hold very important to their platform.
Now, you guys were able to go to a couple of the speeches, I believe. Was there one that stuck out to one of you?
For me, it was probably Michelle Obama. I had never seen her speak before, which is a fault of mine, but after seeing her speak, her passion that she brought to her speech was very inspirational for me, and it really made me rethink my selection for this November.
I think Michelle Obama had a very good speech. I think another person who did very well was Bill Clinton. I think a lot of people have been speaking about, what was it going to be going into that? Was it going to flub up or anything? And I think he came out and performed excellently as far as the speech he delivered concerned. I think he brought a lot of people who were, kind of up in the air right now to a moderate place that hadn't been offered before. And I think he did a lot to help Obama's campaign with his speech.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today. And
My pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We had great coverage all week from Charlotte. Thank you.
Great, thanks. One speech that was the talk of the DNC was given by former President Bill Clinton. In his speech, he defended President Obama's economic record. President Clinton also attacked the Republicans for not compromising with Democrats in Congress. We asked Elon students what they thought of the speech.
There was no truth, and it threw out to the majority of the people, but it was just to gain votes for Obama, basically.
I was more impressed with it than most of the other speeches that I'd seen from either of the conventions.
It was really convincing. It was more clear into the fact than anything else I've seen from the Republican National Convention or even from some of the Democrats.
The DNC was a popular place for many activists this past week. One activist was there to spread awareness of genetically modified foods. Carly Hillard has the story.
Thanks, Scarlett. I'm here in downtown Elon. Behind me is the Acorn Coffee Shop, an on-campus dining favorite for Elon students. Elon Dining Services provides nutrition information for all foods available on campus, but their website leaves out one specific ingredient, genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. I spoke with Elon students to find out more. Have you ever heard of the term GMO?
No, I haven't. No.
I have. I don't remember what they mean.
No.
The Non-GMO Project defines a genetically modified organism as any organism whose DNA has been altered. Spreading awareness about GMOs is a concern for activists such as Vani Hari, author of Food Babe, a blog that explains the benefits of organic living. We spoke with her at the Democratic National Convention last week.
This wide use of genetically modified foods has not been studied long term.
The specific ingredients for food at campus dining locations are not listed online or in the restaurants. Without labels, it is difficult for students to even know if they are consuming GMOs.
I've been spreading my message about labeling genetically modified ingredients, which is a huge issue.
Organizations like the Non-GMO Project and Just Label It believe that all Americans deserve to know if their food has been genetically modified. They are working with activists like Hari to require the FDA to label GMOs.
People need to know what's in their food, and America is one of the only countries that doesn't do this, and Russia and China label their genetically modified ingredients, but we don't.
Hari believes that GMOs don't receive attention because people are not educated about the modified food. I asked students if labels and distinctions between organic and GMO foods would make a difference in their eating habits.
I would eat the organic food. I think I would rather choose the food that's not genetically modified, or at least I would like to have the option to know.
Because I feel like people don't know enough information about that.
People deserve to know what they're eating.
Elon Dining Services was unavailable for an immediate comment. We'll keep up with the issue and post any updates at elonlocalnews.com. I'm Carly Hilliard, Elon Local News.
As students settle into Elon, it's time for the annual reminder about off-campus behavior. Dean Janalyn Patterson sent an email to students last week explaining some of the policies and codes students must follow while living in the town of Elon. The Office of Student Development reminds students to cross the street only at designated crosswalks. Stay alert at all times and avoid walking while texting. Do not walk along train tracks and don't cross if the gates are down. Be sure to keep Elon clean by putting trash in proper bins. Also, be mindful of loud noise violations and the alcohol policies when living off campus. Elon police say no incidents have been reported since the start of school, and we asked some Elon students their opinions on the town's policies.
I don't know if people will actually follow it just because everyone's in college and, you know, what happens, happens.
Most of it's common sense, some of it's a good reminder too.
Some of them are very useful, especially for people like me. I'm out of town, and so it's good just to be refreshed on the policies of this state and this campus and everything. But some of the policies, you know, you don't always agree with.
Is affecting off-campus businesses.
Messy foods and fun? Why so many people came to North Carolina to get their hands dirty. And it was a busy weekend in sports. We'll bring you all the highlights coming up next.
With more than 60 off-campus locations currently accepting Phoenix Cash, the Phoenix Cash program continues to grow. Our April Sutton looked into the pros and cons of being a Phoenix Cash user.
Yozone, Qdoba, and Salon Bronze all have one thing in common. They accept Phoenix Cash. Elon's Phoenix Cash is an alternative source of money that can be used at select merchants. Manager of Phoenix Card Services, Janet Rowe, says companies from the Burlington community want Elon students in their stores.
What usually happens is the merchants contact us and tell us what type of business that, you know, they are running, and that they would like to know what it entails to accept Phoenix Cash.
Cold Stone manager Erica Riceberger opened the ice cream store in Burlington almost 5 years ago. That's when she says she was approached by Elon to become a Phoenix Cash merchant.
They basically approached us and went through all the details with us, and we said, yeah, why not?
Riceberger said having Phoenix Cash put her business ahead of the game.
Basically, it was just another form of payment that the college students could use. One place versus the other. If we have it and they don't, and that's their only form of payment, they're going to come to us instead.
But Riceberger said there's one negative to the Phoenix Cash system.
The machines are like from 1985, and they're really slow, like the transaction process. So if those were a little newer, a little faster, a little bit better, it would just make it go that much faster through each transaction.
Phoenix Card manager Janet Rowe is already working on the Phoenix Card machine.
We know that the type of terminals that we have, they're slower than more up-to-date ones. Within the next year, that will all change as we upgrade our Phoenix Card system, and they will be able to use a different type reader at that time that will be quicker.
April Sutton, Elon Local News.
For more information on off-campus locations, visit the Phoenix Card Office's website.
And now we have our own Julie Morris in our studio to give us a consumer update. Julie.
Thanks, guys. Our bank accounts are replenished after last year's spending extravaganza, but in a couple of months we're going to be back at square one, feeling poorer than ever. So in order to avoid that ramen noodles for breakfast, lunch, and dinner feeling, here are 6 things you do not need to waste your money on. Let's start with books. So the 50 Shades phenomenon and Hunger Games fads were fun while they lasted, but now your rated R novel is sitting on the shelf acquiring dust. There is no need to buy the book when you can borrow it from the library, rent it on your laptop, or if you're really lucky, borrow it from a friend. Number 5 is ringtones. Yes, Nicki Minaj is a great way to know your best friend is calling, but more often than not, your phone is on vibrate. And while $1.99 per ringtone may not seem like a lot, it adds up. Just use the ringtones on your phone. They may be the same as everyone else, but they work. Next on the list, dryer sheets. Mom and Dad have been putting them in your laundry for years, but no one can actually tell you what their real purpose is. Yes, they may make your clothes smell fresh, but that's why we have perfume, cologne, and deodorant. And while not using dryer sheets can cause some static, I promise it'll be worth your extra $5 in the end. Here's one that I'm very guilty of, stopping at local McDonald's for a Diet Coke. Now, if you're as addicted as I am, you might think that it's worth it. But think about this. If you buy a Diet Coke every day for the next 2 weeks, you're spending $14 plus tax. But if you buy a fridge pack, you can have 12 days of soda for more than half the price. Now here's another one, really big one, pesky ATM fees. I know the convenience of that drive-up Bank of America ATM is appealing, but every time you take out $20, you're giving up $2 to $3 of your bank account. Here's the best way to get around it. Either take out large amounts of money and put the extra somewhere safe, or go to your bank instead of the one closest to your home. And finally, the item you should not waste your money on, bottled water. Now, not only will you save the environment, but you will save tons of money if you purchase a reusable water bottle. Water on campus is purified, so there's no need to spend more than $1 on bottled water. Not to mention, how many of you actually finished that bottle of Deer Park? If you have any other ideas on items students should not waste their money on, tweet at us at Elon Local News to share your advice. Looking out for the college consumer, I'm Julie Morse.
Thanks, Julie. Now be sure to get that Nicki Minaj ringtone off of my phone. And it's been a beautiful weekend of weather. What to expect in your 5-day forecast coming up.
Coming up, we also have all the sports action from this past weekend.
And a good Monday evening to you, Elon students. Let's check out the current temperature, 75 degrees. It hit 79 degrees earlier. And when you were walking to class this morning, it was a low 52. Compare that to the record high, 97 in 2007, record low 45 in 1946. Let's take a look at the next one. Game time temperature, Elon versus the West Virginia State Yellow Jackets, 83 degrees. That's pretty. You know why? That means sundresses, bow ties, and barbecue. Jamie Daffner, ELN sports anchor, you'll be in a bow tie. And let's take a look at your 5-day forecast. The weather is looking beautiful for this week. Tuesday and Wednesday, high of 80 degrees. We'll hit 50s when we're walking to class in the morning. Thursday, we got 81 degrees. Low 59, Friday and Saturday, looking mighty fine. 81 high on Friday, 84 high on Saturday. Beautiful day for a pool, guys. I know I live in the Mill Point, and I am just going to jump in right after that football game.
Yeah, well, I definitely spent most of my day outside with the sun, with the wind, everything, no humidity. It was perfect for me.
It was a great day to just get outside, enjoy that lunch, maybe even for a picnic with all of your friends around campus.
And I'm very jealous because I spent my day making those beautiful weather full screens.
Thank you, Joe Bruno, for all of your hard work.
Yes, thank you. And speaking of picnic, if you're a barbecue fan, you should have been in downtown Greensboro this weekend for a celebration of Southern outdoor cooking. The idea was to bring the best barbecue from West and East North Carolina together in Greensboro for one mouth-watering weekend.
The challenge being is that most North Carolina barbecue establishments don't have the off-site capacity to serve thousands of people, you know, and cook it on site.
McDavid and his colleagues could not get all the North Carolina vendors they wanted to attend the festival. But to keep true to the event's name, the East-West Barbecue Festival, they brought in vendors from outside the state.
But it is our long-term goal for it to be all North Carolina vendors.
Now, there are 6 main barbecue companies that travel to Greensboro today, some coming from as far as Arkansas and Ohio. And some of the local Carolina vendors included Stamey's, Bibbs, and Honeybees.
It's important to get involved in the community. I mean, the community is our customers, and this is a good way to reach, you know, more customers.
Well, somebody said barbecue and I came running. I like trying the local food, being outside, listening to the music. It's a nice day.
The festival had live bands as well as merchandise tents for the community to enjoy. According to the organizers, more than 20,000 people attended the event. Scarlett Fakar, Elon Local News. 6 original plays, 24 hours, 1 theater. The annual 24-hour play festival kicked off Saturday at Yago Recital Hall. The event was hosted by Alpha Psi Omega, Elon's theater Honor Society. The event featured comedies, musicals, and parodies written, produced, and directed by students. Students were only given 24 hours to complete the challenge, but their hard work paid off.
There are over 190 student organizations on campus, and they all came to Young Commons on Friday for Elon's annual organization fair. Elon Org fairs are held at the beginning of the fall and spring semesters. It's a chance for new students to see what activities they can get involved in on campus. It may have been hot on Friday, but students of all years visited the different tables on the lawn.
Coming up next, we'll introduce you to 5 former Elon athletes who were honored for their achievements on the field.
Elon's women's basketball has just released their 012-013 season schedule. To start the year, they'll head over to South Carolina for their first big game. The following home game will be just as important when they battle the VCU Rams. Other non-conference home games include UNC Wilmington, America, and Morgan State University. With 14 away games and 16 home games taking place here in our alumni gym, the women's basketball season should prove to be very successful. Tickets are available at elonphoenix.com. After Elon's disappointing 62-0 performance against UNC, the Phoenix played in front of its own fans at Rhodes Stadium on Saturday in its 2012 home opener against NC Central. This week, the results were better. The boys were ready to get back at it after last week's beatdown. Senior quarterback Thomas Wilson was the leader of that cause after struggling mightily the week before at UNC. He completed 13 of his 18 passes for 178 yards and a couple touchdowns. The defense stepped up big as well, allowing only 110 yards of total offense the entire game after giving up over 500 last week at Chapel Hill. Here, Thonda Taylor gets in the backfield and takes down Central's quarterback Jordan Reed, one of 4 sacks for the Phoenix. Again, the defense gets in the backfield, but hold on. Jordan Reed slips out of the tackle, rolls right, and has a receiver wide open down the field. Well, you can't blame the secondary. They thought he was sacked. Reed's mobility gives Central the score, but the Phoenix offense was too much for the Eagles to handle. Wilson finds Kiera Brown for the 35-yard touchdown pass, which would put the game away for the Phoenix. Final score at Rhodes Stadium, Elon 34, NC Central 14. Early morning wake-up calls, endless reps in the weight room, the blood, sweat, and tears amounting in countless hours of hard work. For 5 dedicated former athletes, all that time and energy devoted to bettering themselves and their teams is recognized by induction into the Elon Sports Hall of Fame.
Once I'm gone, my son can see. Look, there's my dad's name, or this is something that will always be at Elon. So it's kind of like etched in stone now.
Of those 5 athletes, softball player Kelly Roscoe was happy to see her career come full circle. In her sophomore year at Elon, Roscoe never struck out in her more than 100 times at bat.
I knew that I've always had that itch to continue playing or be involved, but this really just closed the door in the sense on a high note, and I'm able to feel comfortable with that and satisfied with my career and honored. I mean, it's an honor. Elon is an exceptional school, and I'm honored to be an Elon alum.
Hall of Fame inductee Derek Moore was the last quarterback to play for the Fighting Christians and the first QB for the Phoenix. Upon coming back to Elon, he is excited to relive the glory days.
I'm ready to suit up. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's a beautiful campus. I mean, the love is still here. The people are still the same. Everybody's down to earth. I mean, I miss it. I honestly plan to come back a lot more now.
Other inductees are amazed at the campus improvements as well as the coaching staff Elon has scored.
Oh my goodness! It's grown. Everything. You have everything, and you even have Charlotte Smith. Oh my God. She's one of my favorites, I'm sorry.
Morton is excited to see Charlotte Smith lead the women's basketball team this season, a team Morton played for 15 years ago under coach Brenda Paul. The 5 inductees also include football player Brandon Mason. Jimmy Stevenson, Elon Local News.
Graduated from Elon between 1998 and 2004, and they follow 225 former Elon Sports Hall of Fame inductees. If you want to check out Phoenix Athletics this weekend, you have many opportunities to do so. Starting Tuesday at 7, the women's volleyball team will take on High Point in Alumni Gym. Then on Saturday, the cross-country team gets ready to race in the Elon Invitational at 9 a.m. And that afternoon, the football team faces off against West Virginia State at 3 p.m. Sunday at 2 p.m., women's soccer battles the Francis Marion Patriots, And if you're a tennis fan, the women's tennis team plays all weekend in the Elon Fall Invitational.
The football team's home opener attracted many people to Twitter on Saturday. We now check in with myself to tell us more about some tweets from the game. Before, during, and after the game on Saturday, the football game was the talk of the town. Let's take a look at some tweets from the big home opener. Sheikah Moore writes, "Congrats to Derek Moore for being inducted into the Hall of Fame at Elon. Love you, fam." Next is Aaron, who tweets, "It wouldn't be a home football game without a little thunder and rain shower." And Zachary Horner has our next tweet related to an embarrassing mistake by one Elon defensive player. He writes, "Fonda Taylor thought he had a sack, started celebrating, and missed quarterback Jordan Reed, hitting a wide-open Giovanni Irvine for a score. Elon leads 34-14. After a hard-fought win, Elon standout wide receiver Aaron Millette was perhaps a little sore after the game as he tweets, "A massage would be perfect." That's it for our social media update. Now back to the desk.
Thank you, Steve Roth, for all of those updates. And Jimmy was your co-part doing the Hall of Fame piece. Jamie, what did you think about those members inducted?
Well, the 5 of them, great Elon athletes. It's great to see them back. The fans received them warmly at the game. It was good to see their faces again. I'm sure the alumni really enjoyed it. I'm sure they enjoyed it the most. Great for them to be back, great athletes, and couldn't have been better 5 people going into the Hall of Fame this year.
And Scarlett, the game was a great atmosphere. We came out with a lead at the football game on Saturday. What did you think of the crowd and all the fans that were out?
You know what? It was great to see at one of our first football games of the year. It was great to see that many people there. I know that I got to talk to some of the fans, and they were very happy that the season has finally started. So, Jamie, was there any game that you specifically enjoyed the most this week?
Well, I mean, it's got to be the football team. Getting that W after last week's disappointing loss. A lot of questions about the team, but they came out really strong. Defense looked great. Offense looked great. It was a great all-around team win.
Definitely all around Elon. It was a great weekend. Thank you for joining us. Visit ElonLocalNews.com for all the updates throughout the week. Have a great week, Elon.